Every great hero has a great villain, their number one op, or at the very least a group of antagonists who despise them so much that their mere existence compels them to ruin their life by any means possible. The sheer amount of hate and detestation these villains have for their counterparts can almost be respected. Their aura is solely dependent on how much hatred they have for some of our most beloved heroes. Hey, let me kidnap and murder some of your loved ones just for some laughs and giggles. So what better way to explore this than by listing some of the biggest certified haters DC has at its disposal, or some of the biggest antagonists of the DC universe. Some of these characters really make you sit down and wonder like,
man, what did he do to make them niggas that mad?
It's only fitting to start off with the most prolific hater of DC Comics or DC media in general, me. I'm the biggest hater. This Batman guy or whatever, overrated. This white man would rather spend his time beating up poor people in a bat costume than use his billions of dollars to address poverty and healthcare issues in Gotham. He created all of his villains, he's a massive hypocrite, he low-key sucks. Superman? Holy moly, I don't think I've seen a more boring superhero in my life. Way too overpowered, there's nothing that can beat him. His personality is the equivalent of a piece of bread with nothing on it, just sauceless. Too much of a Boy Scout with nothing to offer. This is why Goku is better. Wonder Woman? Don't even get me started on this feminist piece of trash. She's not even that iconic. Every MCU character is more recognizable in every way. She's boring and offers nothing substantial in the superhero genre, whose projects would offer nothing more than trash woke propaganda about women. What's next? More comic book movies about black people? Like, why are these darkies in my superhero books? DC needs to stop trying to push these people down our throats. Get out of here with these fried chicken eating, watermelon munching. Bro's a hater. You are an imbecile. You think I just sit here and make videos talking trash about these characters like I'm some kind of grifter of a YouTuber?
Bitch, you think that's what I do?
You absolutely cannot make a list talking about some of the biggest haters in fiction without mentioning the primary Superman antagonist, Lex Luthor. This man is a certified hater if I've ever seen one. I don't think there's anyone who hates Superman more if we're not counting the Zack Snyder cultists. He truly is the perfect antithesis to what Superman stands for, with his cynical view of the world and desire for control. Superman embodies the best of humanity, representing hope and idealism, while Lex Luthor despises the idea of an alien challenging his pride and ego. Superman's presence directly threatens Lex's quest for control and influence. I can't even name every horrendous deed he's done in the source material just to get back at Superman. The amount of times he's founded groups like the Injustice League or the Legion of Doom for his own nefarious plans, Lex genuinely views it as a victory if he can convince at least one person to hate Superman. He'd go as far as orchestrating a plan to ensure Superman can't be at two places at once, leading to the death of an innocent person who was crying out for help. His aim was to turn the victim's relative, who was once an admirer of Superman, into an individual with a burning hatred of him. There's absolutely no reason for someone to be this petty. The famous out-of-continuity book All-Star Superman centers on Superman trying to do the most he can for the world during his final moments as his cells were decaying thanks to overexposure to solar radiation. Lex purposefully set up a trap when Superman went to the sun to save a crew so that he could be overexposed to the sun's radiation. Bro said he would die happy if he could kill Superman. Like, that's just some nasty work. One thing I can appreciate is how nearly every adaptation of Lex Luthor maintains his hater type energy. You look at the DCAMU, this nigga held on to kryptonite for so long he ended up getting blood poisoning.
My tests indicate you have a rare form of blood poisoning.
Remember that chunk of kryptonite you carried around for years?
Kryptonite only affects you.
We're finding that it can affect humans too, but only if they're exposed over a long period.
This is your fault.
Unfortunately, there is no cure. It's terminal.
Dude would just casually place $1 billion bounty on Superman's head in movies like Superman Batman Public Enemies after framing him for reckless murder and claiming a kryptonite meteor was affecting Superman's mind. Smallville Lex is a whole ass snake if I've ever seen one. Imagine hiring some chick with a mind altering crystal with the sole purpose of breaking up Lana Lang and Clark Kent just so you can have the girl for yourself, or willing to tarnish Jonathan Kent's name just for the sake of becoming a senator. If you're adapting Lex in any medium and he's not a verified hater of Superman, you've already fumbled the bag. Bane, in all honesty, is one of the coldest Batman villains we as a fan base have ever been exposed to. He has everything you'd fear any great antagonist could have, both the brains and the bronze in one. Bane's not just some musclehead that Batman can go toe to toe with, he's also a brilliant tactician. His desire in wanting to take down Batman stemmed from wanting to prove himself. Bane was born to serve life in a prison located in Santa Prisca, with his mother being imprisoned alongside him. His mother died when he was around 6 years old. He would always envision a bat as a symbol of conquering his fears and eliminating them once and for all, as a means of eradicating the one thing standing in his way of greatness. While in prison, he heard about Gotham City and Batman thanks to another inmate named Bird telling him all about it. Ever since he was told that Batman essentially rules Gotham, he was determined from then on in destroying him. He spent time studying and watching over Batman once he escaped and sought out his mission in Gotham. This man orchestrated an entire plot to free all the villains from Arkham, causing Batman to go restless for days trying to apprehend all of them, snuck into Wayne Manor and the Batcave while Bruce was exhausted, mollywopped him, then broke his back, creating one of the most iconic comic panels of all time. Tom King's run on Batman during DC Rebirth had Bane enacting nefarious acts left and right, had a whole plan in breaking up Selina Kyle and Bruce Wayne's marriage, teamed up with Thomas Wayne Batman from the Flashpoint universe to torment Batman. He freaking killed Alfred Pennyworth right in front of Damian Wayne by snapping his neck, and Alfred has remained dead in the main continuity ever since, while also temporarily taking over the city of Gotham. The best adaptation of Bane in any medium is in Batman Arkham Origins, where Joker hired 8 assassins to take down Batman for a whopping $50 million. Bane wasn't even in it for the money, he just wanted the smoke.
Move it along, big boy.
No, he's coming for you now. And when he gets here, I'm going to kill him. So you wait.
Nice of you to drop in. And just in time.
He's my Paraso.
Remember, you gave your word.
You have 1 minute.
1 minute later.
I've long waited for this moment. With your death, I will find peace.
His sheer dedication is quite admirable, especially considering how he figured out Bruce Wayne was Batman, stormed into Wayne Manor, and nearly killed Alfred in the process, all just to provoke Batman.
Alfred, I am in your house. Bruce, Bane, come home. Say your goodbyes. Once you've had time to turn grief to anger, then you'll be ready to face me. I have left enough life in him for some final words. If you hurry. Alfred!
A lot of these villains have done some devious work, but I don't think there's anything as crazy as killing the infant son of your greatest enemy. Black Manta is a menace through and through, there is no doubt about it. The most modern and recognizable origin of Black Manta, thanks to the DCEU films, depicts him as a treasure hunter who worked with a scientist aiming to prove the existence of Atlantis by revealing to the world that Arthur Curry was an Atlantean when he was younger. The scientist hired Manta to attack Arthur as he only needed a sample of his blood. Arthur's father, Thomas Curry, tried to protect him, but he suffered a heart attack and died in the hospital a few days later. In a fit of rage, Arthur went after Manta, but he ended up killing Black Manta's father in the process. Ever since then, Black Manta and Aquaman were forever locked in a circle of vengeance. Black Manta's primary motivation has been to seek revenge on Aquaman. An effective hater is devoted to making someone else's life as miserable as possible, using any means necessary to achieve their goals, killing his loved ones one by one as he sees fit. The most devious thing he's done was when he kidnapped Aquaman's baby son so that he could put him in a globe that was slowly being filled with air, causing him to suffocate. Sadly, Arthur Jr. ended up dying. Then in the Aquaman 1991 series, Manta had the audacity to pull up during a conference where Aquaman was advocating for himself as a UN ambassador and asked, "How's the wife and kid?" Devious work if I've ever seen it. Still mad that I killed your infant son, LOL. Like, what? That's gotta be one of the darkest things any comic book villain has done to their heroic counterpart. Slade Wilson is the most prolific villain of the Teen Titans. I've never seen a man so obsessed and dedicated to destroying the lives of a group of teenagers. The amount of times he's tormented his own daughter or repeatedly comes after the likes of Nightwing and the rest of the Titans needs to be studied. Him being a mercenary for hire has made him cross paths with a multitude of DC characters. Some adaptations like to alter some of the connections he's had with other characters, like in the DCAMU, making him a supposed heir to Ra's al Ghul as he trained under the League of Assassins, but he got jealous and vengeful once Ra's decided that Batman's connection with Talia would make for an effective potential successor. So So like what any other sane person would do, he kills Ra's al Ghul, tries to kill Damian, kills Talia before she gets revived by the Lazarus Pit, gets his butt whooped by Batman, then by Damian Wayne somehow. After getting some of that Lazarus juice, he comes back to run the Fate with the Teen Titans, going as far as being romantically involved with a minor, with the sole purpose of using her to manipulate the Titans. Like, he a certified freak, why is he around? Slade from the Teen Titans cartoon was an absolute menace. Dude just thought it would be funny to put a hallucinogen in his mask so that when Robin was exposed to it, he would hallucinate Slade just tormenting him. Robin was tweaking that entire episode. Slade had Robin doing all types of devious work, made him so obsessed in finding out who Slade was, creating an entirely separate alias just to infiltrate Slade's defenses. On top of that, he forced Robin into becoming his apprentice and made him fight against his own friends, threatening to kill them all if he were to disobey his directives. Ha, you practically gonna be my son now, or else all your homies gonna die from a push of a button. Deathstroke in the Arrowverse was more so connected to Oliver Queen when Oliver was trapped in the island, and he taught Oliver many combat techniques and maneuvers. Literally came to Star City years later just to make Oliver's life as miserable as possible. Brother killed Oliver's own mother right in front of him.
Kill me.
No!
Choose me, please. Choose. Choose.
My children will live.
You possess true courage. You did not pass that on to your son.
If you were to look up the definition of hater, obsessed, psychopath, there should really only be one picture right next to the definitions of those words. Eobard Thawne is probably not only the biggest hater in DC, but arguably the biggest hater and pettiest character in all of fiction. I don't know a villain more obsessive and infatuated with their hero they consistently go up against. His sheer existence is based on Barry Allen becoming the Flash.
Why do you hate me so much?
I didn't always. For so long, I wanted to be the Flash. Duplicated the reaction, and it worked. I became like you. Ability to travel through time revealed the truth. My fate was to become your greatest enemy. I was never going to be the Flash, so I became the reverse of everything that you were. The more I had to take from you.
It's why you killed my mother. Because you couldn't be me?
I became better than you!
Eobard Thawne grew up in the 25th century and worshipped Barry Allen as he was noted as a noble hero with a pure soul, to the point where he knew everything about Barry as the Flash. He read about Barry Allen's life so much that he would dream of meeting him to then dreaming of becoming him. Eventually, he got a hold of a cosmic treadmill and decided to replicate the chemical accident that gave Barry his powers so that Thawne could use the treadmill to travel back in time and meet the Flash. When he finally traveled to the 20th century, he went to the Flash Museum to study more of the Flash's deeds, friends, and enemies he's encountered. He learned about the mysterious villain Barry fought named Professor Zoom, which was the only villain Barry had to kill at the time. But he was shocked to learn that Professor Zoom was in fact Eobard Thawne himself. Thawne realized how he was destined to become Professor Zoom, and in an instant, a lifetime of admiration of the Flash transformed into hatred. He knew he couldn't kill Barry Allen as his existence is what caused him to become Zoom or Reverse Flash in the first place. His Speed Force simply cannot exist without Barry's. So he decided to make Barry Allen's life as miserable as possible. I'm talking about acts like killing Barry's mother when he was a child and having Barry's father Henry Allen take the blame, which led to his imprisonment. He would literally go back in time to when Barry was in the 6th grade and push him down a flight of steps at school, causing Barry to break his arm in the process. He burned down his first home in Fallville, caused the back door of his house in Central City to open, which led to Barry's dog running out and being hit by a car, forcefully revealing Barry Allen to be the Flash in front of Iris West after he kidnapped her and placed her in the 25th century, as at the time Barry and Iris were dating, but she hadn't known he was the Flash. Even with people who aren't Barry Allen, he likes to be a bit of a maniacal, goofy goober. Thomas Wayne from the Flashpoint universe wrote a letter to Bruce Wayne, Batman of the main universe. You know, that iconic scene where Bruce is crying while reading the letter and thanks Barry for delivering it to him. So you know what Reverse Flash did when he enters the Batcave during the Flash and Batman button crossover in DC Rebirth? He grabs it and tears it to shreds while beating the ever-living crap out of Batman. Reverse Flash's sole motivation is to torment Barry Allen as much as possible. Dude gets a hard on just thinking about the ways he can infuriate the Flash and get under his skin in ways I can hardly imagine. Those are just some of the better known troublemakers in the DC universe. There are plenty of other villainous characters that are driven by sheer hatred for a particular hero. These 5 are probably the most recognizable or impactful, give or take a couple of characters. It's fun to see some of these villains go to such extreme lengths, often not even for world domination or some grand scheme, just for the sake of witnessing witnessing the suffering and torment of a single individual they despise so much. And you thought Kendrick Lamar was on some demon timing. With writers coming and going and adding on to characters' mythos and established lore, I wouldn't be surprised if these villains end up doing even more nefarious acts that put some of the deeds listed in this video to shame. But that wouldn't be too shocking, because at the end of the day, they are some baddies that should never be trifled with.